Ella and the Star Feather. Ella was a gentle 8-year-old girl who loved to watch the night sky from her bedroom window. On one clear night she saw a bright feather fall from a star in the sky. She ran outside and found a soft white feather that glowed like a small lamp. She held the feather in her hand and felt its warm light. She knew the feather must be lost and needed to return to the sky. She put the feather in her small bag with care. The next morning she told her best friend Max about the feather. Max was a clever boy who lived next door. He had a small dog named Pip. He and Pip joined Ella on her journey to help the feather return. They walked together through the green forest behind their houses. The forest was full of tall trees and singing birds. The sunlight moved through the leaves like gentle waves. Ella led the way because she knew the feather's light would guide them. Pip ran ahead and sniffed the ground at every step. Max held a map that his grandmother had drawn. The map showed the path to the Moon Hill. The Moon Hill was a small hill that touched the sky on clear nights. The map had a note that said, "Return the feather at the top of the hill when the full moon is high." They decided to wait for the full moon night. They walked home and told their families about the adventure. The families smiled and gave them packed lunch and warm scarves. Ella's grandmother gave Ella a small lantern for the dark forest. Max's father gave him a compass to know the right way. They waited until the night of the full moon. They met at the forest edge with the feather and the lantern. The moon was bright and big in the sky. The stars shone like small diamonds all around the moon. Ella felt a soft breeze on her face. She held the glowing feather in her hand. They walked into the forest carefully. The lantern lit their path and the feather's light showed hidden stones. They followed the path on Max's map. Pip ran in circles, happy to explore. They passed a small river that made a gentle sound. They crossed a fallen log with Pip's help. The log was wet but safe for them. They continued until they saw the old oak tree that marked the hill's start. Ella tapped the oak tree with her hand. A small door appeared at the base of the tree. Ella looked at Max with surprise. She used the lantern to see the lock. The lock was old and rusty. Ella tried to open the door but it did not move. Max found a small silver key on the map's drawing. He took the key from his pocket. The key fit the lock on the oak door. Ella turned the key and the door opened with a soft creak. They stepped through the door into a smooth stone tunnel. The tunnel was cool and full of faint moonlight. The feather's glow filled the tunnel with warm light. They walked down a few steps and found a round room. The room had tall walls covered with ancient paintings of stars. The paintings showed children helping a feather fly again. They knew they were in a magical place. In the center of the room stood a tall pillar of marble. On the pillar was a small hole that looked like a nest. Ella approached the hole with care. She held the feather above the hole. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Take care, little feather, and fly back home." The full moon light came through a round window above. A beam of light touched the feather in Ella's hand. The feather began to glow and tremble. The glow grew stronger and filled the room. Pip barked softly and Max covered his eyes with wonder. The feather lifted from Ella's hand. It spun slowly near the pillar like a small star. Then it shot up the tunnel and out through the oak door. They saw it rise behind the tree and join the moonlit sky. The sky seemed to welcome the feather. The moon shone brighter for a moment. Ella felt a soft wind touch her cheeks. She smiled and lifted her lantern. Max smiled too and hugged Pip. They left the magical room and closed the oak door. The door disappeared again into the oak tree trunk. They climbed out into the clear night. The air was calm and fresh. They walked back down the forest path. The lantern and the feathers' glow in their minds guided them. They returned home full of joy and quiet magic. Their families waited at the forest edge. They hugged Ella and Max. Ella told her grandmother about the magical room and the feathers' flight. Max told his father about the oak door and the pillar. That night they slept with happy hearts. Ella dreamed of glowing feathers dancing in the sky. Max dreamed of maps that showed secret doors. Pip dreamed of full moons and soft breezes. The next morning the children told other friends about the lost star feather. They all looked up at the moon and stars with new wonder. They knew that kindness and courage help everyone complete their journeys. And so Ella kept the map and the lantern on her shelf. She wrote the story in her notebook for the next children. She knew that one day she would find another secret key and have another adventure. And every night she looked at the moon and felt the feathers' warmth in her heart.